Now, being able to pick and choose your height may sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but for some people, it's a reality. Limb lengthening surgery is a long, expensive and very painful process, but research carried out by the BBC shows it's actually growing in popularity nonetheless. The BBC's Tom Brada has been researching the controversial procedure, and his documentary on the topic will be available on BBC World News this weekend. Tom joins me now from his home in London. Now, warning that our conversation is going to include details of some graphic surgery which some viewers might find upsetting. Tom, just explain a bit more about how this procedure works. It is, to put it frankly, a major operation.
That's right, Karen. It's extremely complex. And when I first found out about the procedure, it sounded to me almost fantastical, almost beyond the realm of possibility. But medical techniques have advanced so that, to an extent, like you said, it is now possible to pick and choose your height. So to go into a little bit more detail about the process, and I should give another warning that this might be a little bit too graphic for some, but essentially, depending on which part of your leg you want to lengthen, either the top, the femur, or the tibia at the bottom, that bone is quite literally broken in two. And then a metal rod is surgically implanted into that bone, and it's this metal rod which is then lengthened by up to 1 millimetre each day until the patient reaches their desired height, at which point they stop lengthening and the bone is allowed to grow back together. And using this technique, in the most extreme cases, people are able to grow by up to 13 centimetres taller. Although I think it's probably important to note that this takes extremely long amount of time, several months in terms of the lengthening process, and then the intensive rehabilitation. It's very expensive. In the US, it can cost, for example, up to $200,000. And according to several of the people I spoke to, it can be excruciatingly painful.
Tom, who are the people having this surgery, and just what are their motivations?
So the first interesting thing to note is that the people opting for this surgery are predominantly men, and that may be because of an expectation in society to fulfill a dominant alpha male stereotype, including the need to perhaps be physically imposing. But there are several interesting psychological elements which underpin why people are choosing to have this surgery. There are several people who I spoke to who are addressing quite serious mental health issues in terms of body dysmorphia, which is essentially a mental health condition where you worry a disproportionate amount about a certain aspect of your body image, in this case, your height, and that can lead to years of introspection and depression. There are other people for whom the line is a little bit more blurred. They may not have a diagnosed mental health condition, but they may feel that their height is holding them back in terms of perhaps their professional life or indeed their love life. And that was the case for one of the people I spoke to in the documentary. This was Sam. He had the operation in 2015, and he cited the effect on his love life, his romantic life, as the main motivation for having the surgery done. And I believe we can listen to a segment of our conversation.
It's kind of tough to be a guy and approach a girl that's taller than you. It's like sometimes I would fester on not being able to find a wife, or thinking that girls would just like never look at me when we were out in public. So I started off at 5'4" is when I got the surgery done, and now I'm 5'7". I'm not the tallest person in the room. Like, I still definitely think about height. I just think about it a lot less. It is kind of crazy. You're breaking both of your femurs broke both of my femurs to get this surgery. So it's like, you kind of have to rationalize that it is a wild thing that you're doing. But if it's going to make you happier in the long run, then it's worth it.
So there, as Tom was speaking to Sam, who was telling him that he was obviously very happy with the outcome, but so many risks, but it is becoming more popular. Tom Brada, my colleague there, who has made that documentary, thank you very much. And you can catch that documentary right here on BBC World News over the weekend. The times are on your screen now. A fascinating investigation which has taken a year by the BBC. Thanks for watching.